What's the ReHumanizing Humanity Cohort about and who would benefit from participating? I am so glad you asked. Well, anyone and everyone will benefit from participating, and not just participating, but truly immersing themselves. Because historically, as a collective, humans are experts at dehumanizing people. People throughout time have effortlessly minimized and dehumanized people for multiple reasons, and it hasn't stopped. Sometimes we don't need or have a reason. We just feel like minimizing someone, almost like it's a part of who we are. We see various forms of dehumanization in the ways people look at each other and don't look at each other, in the ways we talk about people and don't talk about them, the words we use and not use. We reduce people to labels that make us feel good, sometimes superior. Anyone can feel superior to someone else based on how we see them and how we see ourselves. And if we see ourselves as superior to anyone, that means we see others as less than us. And that's a form of minimization. We minimize, reduce their humanity, and in the process, we are supersizing our humanity. Humans disrespect each other every day in this way, and we normalize it. We create cultures, organizations, and communities around it. And we even form religious beliefs and practices around it. Good people, even people who pray and think they are righteous, have ways of minimizing those who they think are not righteous enough. And they may feel justified minimizing others because it's a part of their culture's identity. It's countercultural for many people globally to pause and think about what we think about when we think about other people. News media, literature, movies, books, social media platforms, and articles, and even sermons or religious messages are inundated with explicit and implicit dehumanizing opinions and misinformation that many people receive as facts, as creeds and doctrines to live by and force others to live by as well. And that misinformation gets embedded deep within our psyche, and it influences and births the biases we develop. These biases then inform how we think, how we talk, how we make decisions in every situation, on every level of operations, everywhere, globally. So, who would benefit from participating? Anyone who interacts with another human, especially if you're serving or caring for them in any capacity. Anyone feeling a prompting within themselves to start shifting how they and their community may be looking at and treating others. Perhaps there's a specific group of people you have been judging or outcasting or never even took the time to connect with because of the backlash you would receive from the community you belong to. Others that would benefit are those that see what's happening in the world, but the people in your community are blind and you feel lonely. Maybe you are someone who does not know how to respond to being dehumanized or outcasted. Perhaps you are the leader or director of a community or organization and you're struggling to have certain conversations. You would benefit greatly. Are you a social worker, a therapist, a gatekeeper of any kind, a life coach, a DEI activist, or are you anti-DEI or against anyone using the word woke? Do you like referring people to labels and categories rather than using their names or learning their names? People in the medical field would benefit greatly from this cohort, especially those making decisions on claims and offering medical services. Pastors, those that think they are diverse and those that know they are not diverse. Community volunteers and those who like to see themselves as heroes and saviors, politicians, law enforcement, people in all branches of the military, including civilian contractors, educators, parents, people who travel, people who provide services to travelers, anyone who is in a relationship of any kind. You're all invited. What are we going to be doing? I'm glad you asked that too. We're going to be uncovering subtle and normalized propagandized messages and cultural programming coming from trustworthy and untrustworthy sources, which is affecting our psychological and physical presence in the world. We're going to be examining perspectives and beliefs that are embedded within us that we might not have realized yet, which is distorting the dignity of our own humanity. And that's why we're going to be starting with examining ourselves. And that's the hardest work. You know that, right? Because it's so much easier to look at others and their so-called flaws than it is to turn our eyes upon ourselves. And we're going to do this in gentle, compassionate ways each week. We'll also have excellent resources for you to interact with and discuss. And those discussions are what we're really looking forward to. Intentional communal dialoguing. We don't have enough spaces where people are authentically connecting on things that really matter, really listening. But that's not surprising because many of us are disconnected from ourselves and we don't even know how to listen to ourselves. And if we're disconnected from ourselves, how can we truly connect to others in ways that dignify their humanity? How do we rehumanize those who continually dehumanize others? We're going to be exploring mental, emotional, and energetic blockages hindering awareness and growth in areas within ourselves. We're going to be looking at things like what kind of energy flows from someone who sees themselves as superior to another? How many people are aware of the energy flowing from them into their surroundings, into their relationships, into their interactions with others? We're going to use embodied practices to connect and draw us deeper into awareness of ourselves and our connections with others. There's so much more to talk about. We're excited to bring you into the conversations Tavon and I have been having for years. We look forward to serving you, connecting with you, dialoguing, and empowering each other together.